Good morning, everybody.
We're back.
We're back, and I am so excited. I will show you in a moment how my design grew out.
Oh yeah,
Kristen could.
I'm pretty impressed, actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of good to know, because if someone wants like a little change, that was like a fun little thing for what would you say it lasted?
It was really good for about 2 weeks. By 3 weeks, it was very faded, and now here we are.
So like it
weeks.
Faded meaning blended in.
Blended in, yeah. Like you could hardly detect it unless it was in the sun at the right angle.
If you put a little bit of the gel in there,
right? I did. I tried. Yes, yes. So that is something I know. I got a lot of questions about that. How long did it last? And some of you freaked out when I did it and thought I did something permanent.
She was falling off the wagon.
She was like, it was very temporary, and I knew that. So if you want to try something, it is very temporary.
It is very. Actually, I'm impressed because I too, you know, we kind of helped her inspire this thing. She didn't know. We were like, what are we getting her into?
What are we doing? We don't know. So it was fun. But today I'm so ready because it has been 4 months since I have had color.
That's so long.
And
she's not looking so bad. You can see though when we separate this, like how much regrowth she has. She has a good 1.5 inches at least. Like if not, it's about 1.5 inches right here. So yeah.
So a lot of regrowth, and we have been discussing the cut because we're growing some areas out, but in that process, I'm getting some really big fullness. So we'll talk about the cut, but the color,
sure.
We are wanting to change some things up. Yes. And so Kristen can let you know kind of, in the past, we've always done a lot of heavy foiling.
Like the 100 foil highlight, I always like to say, like lots of highlighting. And she needs the foil for the incubation. Like I can't just paint her ends and it come up that way. She would have a whole lot of gold going on.
Yeah, that would not be good because I am about a level.
I would say you're like, you're a 5, but you're pretty cool. And I mean, I have to use like, again, like a real heavy blonding. The developer, I tend to go with more of a 40 all the time, which is, I know, scary for some, but I can't believe, and I think she is getting a little bit darker because I feel like she's under the dryer longer than she used to.
Longer and longer. She keeps checking, going, please be done. So we are going to change things up a little bit.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and take, because we've been growing this out, and that was the fun part about adding this little piece back here. And so if you're bored, that might be a good little idea that you can kind of do something like that with the little barbering artwork back there. But through here you can see we really did just go through the bottom and fade this last time. Actually Efren did. So we really left this because we knew we were going to be coloring and we didn't know where that was going to go. So as you can see, she's got a lot of dark here. We are actually going to take her up and still go with the undercut significantly, but we are going to leave a lot of the length here. So coloring wise, this will mostly, you see a little residual tone. I had done like a level 5 something a couple months ago just because it was a bit warm, I think. So today I think I'm gonna go with like a level 6, maybe a little 7 ash, like a little bit, just to lighten it slightly because she is so dark, just minimally though. So then through here, cut wise, we are gonna take her problem. If you have really thick hair, like she said, you know, we all love her cut, which looks great, but she's getting a bit of a flat head up here, believe it or not. It happens to all of us.
Split here.
I like to call it airplane head. You know when you leave the airplane?
It's totally airplane head, yes.
So through here, for me, I'm kind of checking her out, and where she is separating back here, I'm probably gonna just really make sure I actually put a few highlights back here. She's not gonna be, I'm not going for like super blonde because we aren't taking a lot of this length on the top off. We'll trim it, shape it, but I want to put that blonde because actually the blonding helps keep things a little organized in your cut. So that's part of the reason why she's probably separating, is because, you know what, she's really healthy right now.
Unhealthy
contrary
hair has a little more lift and volume.
It does. Not in a healthy way. Unhealthy, but healthy
way. Right, in the right way, yes. Yeah.
So we're gonna go for more of like a level 6 through the bottom. On Shirley, I don't think she should be personally like too warm in tone. She's better with more of a neutral so that's what we're going for on the bottom. Top, we're gonna do a little bit of foiling through the back, just not as heavy as I usually do. And then in addition, we are gonna make her a little chunky through the front, but then there's gonna be a little bit more, and we'll do a little, we'll call it shadow root, but we're tonally changing it.
Yeah, because I originally was thinking of going all dark.
Yeah.
But as I've been growing out, and some of the things that I know that I love about the blonde or the contrast is it really shows the texture of the cut.
Even like today, this is 4 months, and you know, you still see that depth in the blonde, and she can manipulate and color and style, and I think people still go, I like your hair. You know, a lot of people like that. So okay, so as you can see, she actually really did, this is the residual tone from the past little artwork. So, I mean, yeah, if you really check it out, you can kind of see the past of it, but you can see it grew out quite well. Okay, so I'm actually gonna start out with like a number 3 guard. I'm not gonna go as short, only because I want to make sure, I say as short, only because I don't want to expose her past little artwork that we had. So I'm crawling before I walk. If it's fine, I'm gonna go to a 2. So, but I'm also gonna take it, you can see how high I've sectioned. Because we're gonna leave her longer on the top, I'm actually going to take her shorter, not all the way up to here, but last time we left this quite long intentionally. So this is where I think some of her life is becoming upside down. so it's just a lot. So we're gonna kind of use this to get rid of the bulk back here, in addition to, that is, you know, the look we're going for anyway. So again, a number 3. I'm gonna see what goes on down here, and then I shall decide if we're looking okay or we need an edit. Okay, so as you can see, we did do, so again, we've done that little kind of lotus-esque flower, because I'm sure people are like, well, what does it look like in a month? So this was only a month, and actually this is the number 3 and you can't even see it. So I am comfortable enough going with the 2. I just didn't want it to look choppy and then not look right. As you can see here, this is getting to her, like back to her au naturel. So Shirley too doesn't like to be here, as you know, every 2 weeks to be touching up her whatever we're touching up. So in a good way, it will be a fresh palette for color, because we a lot of times think about that, like what are we doing next, and that's how we end up with a better color outcome, because of the fact that we're not putting red and then wanting to be platinum the next week, because that doesn't work out well. From your
hairstylists don't like that, right?
Well, with that, we want people to give you what you totally want. So
and it's harder to go over color,
and even dark color. You know, I do know Shirley has a lot of people who, and actually we did experience this not that long ago, where, you know, a lot of people go, I just can't get this blonde. And the issue in which we were, we haven't had to combat too much with Shirley's hair is that we aren't doing root touch-ups. So this, when I lighten her, I either am taking sections fully from her natural and not doing it over previously colored hair. And that in itself is huge, because when you're lifting out darker color, like I said, I did a level 5 on her, you know, 10, 11, 12 is like the platinum blondes. 1 is black. So if you're doing a 5, you're pretty dark, you know? And so lifting that out, it's not just lifting your own natural pigments out of your hair, it's actually the color, the artificial color, and that darn stuff just stays in the hair like crazy. So just giving everybody a bit of the education on that whole, how that works out.
So it's definitely the advantage with my hair, even though it's tough to lighten, you're lightening natural hair, you're not having to lift color.
Right. And some might ask me, well, how do you then on top, are you doing your tint touch up? Today, I will say, today I'm actually, it's nice and close there. It's like, oh. Today we are going to actually put her roots on as well on the top. But the thing is I'm going to put her blonde in and then retouch her roots. So that is going to happen today. And maybe in the future, we'll see where we battle with getting out some of that blonde, but because Shirley goes so long in between her colors, we are really dealing with a really different palette every time. So whereas if you're coming every 6 to 8 weeks and totally changing that up, that in itself will be its own little journey. And your expectation may not happen every time.
Right.
So yeah, so I appreciate that, you know, she's willing to work with that, you know.
Makes your life a little easier.
Well, that, and here's the deal. Like, I mean, as much as I love doing hair, and I but I wouldn't want to be in the salon every couple of weeks. So with that, it's everybody's own desire. And I mean, obviously it costs to get the hair done and all that kind of stuff. So with that, we are going to cut her a little bit on those angle here again at that, not total V, but just a little bit exaggerated compared to just straight across. So just for a little fun pizzazz. It actually works well with her hairline because then she does have a little bit, her hairline isn't super straight, but I actually feel like when we go at this angle, it kind of helps your longevity.
It does.
Yeah.
It grows out because I don't always retouch it throughout the time. Actually, most of the time I just let it grow.
Since going short, huh?
Yeah.
And so it kind of grows out. Of course, this is just depends on everybody's little own situation. Okay, so we got her nice and short again.
So we have my natural colors.
I know, this is true. So if you want to know what she looks like all natural, there it is. So I am going to go ahead and do I did like 25 cc's. I use RUSK color, but this would be of 6N, 25 cc's 6N, and 15 cc's 7AA. So a double ash because she tends to always be warm. So I didn't want to lift her too much, but I thought that the ash would help control. Ash always appears a bit darker anyway, so that's why I lifted it a little bit, because I want her to be a little lighter than her natural color anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through the bottom here and just apply the color, our base color, and then I will go through the top and I will go ahead and just do some fine highlights through there and get that all going. So it will be fine. It'll be a nice little change up. But we need to preserve those little blonde ends there so that they are too legit here. She does have a very nice hairline, so we don't have to worry about too dirty. Yeah. What I'm doing here in the crown on Shirley's hair is just doing some fine little baby lights. Overall, we are going for a little bit of a darker look, so I'm not going to worry about putting so many blondes here in the back. So we are going to maintain some of the length that she already has, which means we will maintain already some of the previous blonde that we've had, which we did go for the gusto in the past. So she's a little blonder than the normal there. So, and then I'm retouching her roots in the in-between with the new color. So again, this time she will have the full color touch up, which is not always the case. Like when we go real blonde, we try to utilize mostly being blonde the whole time.
Blonde, but we're doing some different things.
That's right. Been going in here in these foils is basically just I'm throwing a little base color in addition to like every other one is highlights. When it comes to the point where I feel like the curvature of the head on both sides, that's where the hair is going to lay down. So when going lighter, I always make sure that it's really light. Right here, my last one was actually a dark one. So I'm going to make sure that we're going to go a little chunky with these because we are bottom line going darker with our color today. So this is where like areas like this that I like to then kind of emphasize and put like, make sure, because we want to be darker, we are going to be darker, but we're not pulling that color all the way through. It just will help give, like when it's separated, it's going to give that nice depth, and yet still we'll have a few highlights, but they're going to be more for the, you know, the pop, like the pop of it, rather than being the all over blonding look. You know what I mean? So
that makes sense. Yeah.
And I did it the same thing on the other side. It's kind of where like the little, like the hairline tends to go. I think that's a little bit where your eye tends to draw on, you know, from your eyebrow up. It's a good little spot. So just thought that's a little tip. And I don't really know why I do it. It's just the way I do it. So
and it works.
It works. So right. So it's kind of like, I just think there is something to like, you know, to pay attention to that.
Yes.
I thought I would share. Yeah. So here in the front on Cheryl Lee, as you can see, I did not color her there. That is her own organic little mature blonde that comes out there. So all we're gonna do for lower maintenance, I'm actually just gonna heavy highlight like right through the hairline, but heavy like baby light. So I just do like little baby ones, break this up. We had a chat about, do you want me to bring that full color right through the front? And she decided, you know, no. I will do it after I get kind of behind here because we obviously want the colors to blend. But because she's so light in the front right now, I don't really like worry about that too much. And then, but as soon as, like you can see here, there's a pretty big section of dark. So that's, you know, I will make sure we kind of blend that. But then in the same sense, she has quite a section of that blonde right there. So what I do is, this is kind of where you got to put your work in, a little extra time to marry this together. But that's also how we get 4 months out of a color. So that's the way I kind of think about it, like that. We kind of color map it as her own natural, and not everyone can do this, but as her time, she did not start out having this. So
right.
I always tell people when they do kind of have this, it actually works better when you are a bit lighter because it kind of works with you rather than against you.
And this is another reason for me personally why I'm not going all dark, because this I would have to maintain every 4 weeks.
and she knows that would bug her, you know?
It would really drive me crazy.
It is good to know these types of things.
Yeah.
So then right after that, I'm gonna take like a little slice, and we are gonna do, I will go ahead and put some of that color there. And some might say, well, you're not pulling it all the way through. You know what? No, I'm not. But what I do is I just kind of take, meaning pull the whole color all the way through. But that's where, you know, you just kind of blend it, kind of paint it a little bit softly there. And then again, we want to use the blonde on the ends anyway. So that's why we keep it. I'm going to do one little weave here. You'll still be blonde, but then I can, the slice will come. I like to do it where in the front, when you're, not that you part, but what you see in the front, that's where the blonde kind of sets right on that corner there. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The contraption, the foils, you know, at least they're leopard print. It's so fun.
I know. So I'll be checking her. I usually go like 10 to 15 increments. I look at her before, which I just did, and you can kind of see that's where she's at. So quite golden. So again, she's one of those ladies that needs a little extra time and heat.
Lots of time.
So
we have interesting things going on here. So what kind of toner, what are you doing?
Okay, so I applied this kind of like a shadow root would be applied. In other words, she's already been lightened. We kind of, I guess we're dropping her down a little bit, but I actually used a half ounce of REDKEN Shades 9GI and then a ½ ounce of 9AA. So the AA just is giving a little of the warmth that the GI, like I was telling her, I kind of like a little bit of a warmer sand color on her regrowth. And then her ends, we still, with her skin tone, you know, at the end of the day, we can follow trends and we can do all these fun things, but I think you should stick true to what looks good on you, right? So Shirley has a nice warmth to her complexion. So if I make her with a little too warm on her ends, she's gonna just look like an Oompa Loompa. So we're not, we don't want that. Not the goal. So with that,
thank you.
Right. So we are going to just brighten these ends, keep these ends like bright, but still, you know, not be like white. We can soften them up a little bit. And so that's what we're kind of doing by putting this on her root area and kind of combing it through slightly. Some of her ends, we're not saturating the ends, so they will just kind of pull up and grab a little bit of that. In the back, I'm not afraid to do a little bit more down, pull down that shadow root a little bit, because obviously like that's not on her face exactly. So that's what I was kind of sharing. You can kind of have a little bit of a winterier look, you know, kind of away, and that's what's not laying on your face, and then kind of tailor that better towards your actual complexion towards the face. So consider that.
Go to the professionals.
Yeah, we tried. Okay, so here's little lady.
They are.
I know. I like it. We see a little warmth in there, but nothing crazy. Nice little blonde in there. We're going to go ahead and I'm actually going to take up, she kind of wants to be able to push this in the back and not like essentially look like she has a bowl cut with all this little fringe down here. You know, I mean, some might like a bowl cut. I don't think she's doing that today.
I've decided it's not for me.
And I kind of use the ear as a guide and kind of push this a little back to where we go a little shorter through here. That way it gives a little interest on the haircut. And then Shirley a lot of times will kind of style pushing this forward. When this hair is a little shorter, I feel like it behaves a little better when she kind of does that because it's not so much hair going forward.
Yes.
And so same thing here on this side. I love this little tool. You know, everybody's got their favorite things. This is called a Donald Scott carving comb. So same thing, I just go through here and kind of cut a little shorter around here, around the top. Okay, and then in her little crown, or in this little headband area, we always call it, I am gonna trim this stuff shorter, but not like way short like we've done in the past. It's more just because we want this to blend a little in the back, give a little more volume. And as well, we're gonna keep this slightly longer going towards the front, so.